I'd like to greet everybody today with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be upon you. As to all of my friends as well as those who declare themselves as my enemies. Today is Friday, November the 20th, 2015. The time being 1:19 p.m. Central Time or Charleston, Missouri time. This picture is of my dad, Johnny A. Ivy, a United States Army World War II veteran. He was drafted in the World War II, and he came from Charleston, Missouri, the same town where I'm fighting against injustice, up against white supremacists and black sellouts. They call themselves leaders of the community. I want to tell you something about reason why I'm making this shortest video as I can make is because Veteran Day was just, I believe, November the 11th, 2015, just about 9 days ago. And my dad is one of the documented, recorded veterans here in Charleston, Missouri, downtown in City Hall with the recorder of deeds. He's one of the very few World War II veterans in this town, this city, left alive. But I want to tell you something about what affected him on Veterans Day. He asked me, did they have any type of programs in his hometown that's honoring the veterans? And I told him they was, but I said, I'm not able to take you. He said, do you need gas? I said, no. Is it too far? I said, no, it's right here in town. Matter of fact, it's at the high school. But Lester Gillespie, a person who had a judge that used to be the attorney for the people he worked for, called Suzanne Wesley Family Learning Center, located in East Prairie on Washington, located here on Marshall Street in Charleston, Missouri, located on Elm Street, or what we call it, Cy Williams Drive, or a street here in Charleston, Missouri. He said to my YouTube videos, Dad, that I'm talking about this violence, black on black crime, unoccupied police substation right across the street from us, blacks killing blacks, drugs being sold all around us, people misusing your grandchildren in the Charleston R1 school district, police coming in my house without any warrants. They came when I brought you down. It was 6 days after I brought you down. I brought you from Chicago, October the 21st, 2014. On October the 26th of 2014, the Charleston, Missouri Police Department with the Missouri Department of Social Service, the Aging Department, or for the elderly, they came to our house and said that somebody made an anonymous phone call. You ain't down there 6 days. You left here in 1948 because of the same thing that I'm going up against here, and you raised all your children in Chicago. You didn't want us to put up with what I'm putting up now. But here it is. They said that I'm supposed to have been abusing you, and I done kidnapped you from Chicago, but I got papers from the federal government who supersedes them saying that it was best for me to bring you down here with me because you was unable to take care of yourself. But then they found out that was a lie. But they did the same thing with your grandchildren's, Dad. When I went up against the school in the police department, they sent somebody to Children and Family Service, same Missouri Department of Children and Family Services, said that I was doing something to your grandchildren. That failed. But my point is, y'all, this exploitator Lester Gillespie got on me this illegal injunction for me exercising my First and 14th Amendment rights I wasn't able to take him there because Lester Gillespie was there. And this same judge who recused himself, but he still extended this expose into another judge hearing from out of this 33rd circuit. I can't come within 500 feet of this guy, Lester Gillespie. I'm assuming against nowhere near any of his Suzanne Wesley employees. They scattered every place in this town. They among them 5 churches that they had, saying that they had the unified coalition against violence here in Charleston. But I couldn't take him there. And I told him that reminded me when Martin Luther King in one of his speeches, when he said he sat his 6-year-old daughter down. Yolanda, he called her Yogi. Because she was wondering why she couldn't go to Funtown. He had to tell her that she couldn't go to Funtown because you have some white people that feels that blacks shouldn't be able to go there. But he said all of them, all white people, don't concur with that issue. Just like all white people don't concur with what the Suzanne Wesley Learning Center, Lester Gillespie, Sherry Maxwell, and the Lincoln University. I'm going to stop saying the Sykes extension because it's the Lincoln University, period. Because if they letting her work for them, they know what she's doing in this town, then they are part of it. Just like Suzanne Wesley. If Lester Gillespie worked for you and you know what he's doing in this town and you accepting it, you a part of it. It's just like if somebody out there on a murder with somebody. Except if you working with the Suzanne Wesley Learning Center, you can be there on a murder and you gonna get out, but the other person gonna go to jail. Look at some of the people that working there and see what I'm talking about. Look at the fact on August the 13th, 2015, just this year, one of Lester Gillespie workers who was driving food to these government-funded food programs, going and pick up food for these programs, taking tables, driving with no license. Lester knew. If Lester knew, Suzanne Wesley knew. They didn't care. But he laid down on August the 13th. God slowed him down. He hit a Mississippi County sheriff's wife's vehicle from behind. Then he tried to take off, but his vehicle disabled him about a block away. Then he got out and ran. He didn't care if that lady was hurt or not. But those of y'all say I was prejudiced, me and my daughters helped that white woman from that black man that hit him, that worked for Lester Gillespie and Suzanne Wesley Learning Center. He went on the run because he stayed on the run for a few months because some of the police here in town is not going to try to arrest him because he worked for Suzanne Wesley Learning Center. Like all them criminals just about, not all that Lester got working at 700 Cy Williams Drive or Street or Elm Street. The old Lincoln School, only place where blacks could go because whites didn't want blacks to go to the Charleston Consolidated School. So they were segregated there. It's called the C.F. Bowen Civic Center now. He was the principal when my dad was going to school in the 30s and the 40s. You know he turning over in his grave with people like Lester Gillespie and Suzanne Wesley, Sherry Maxwell and Lincoln University, and some of these other white supremacists and sellout blacks is taking these programs there just to get federal government money. But anyway, this same individual that hit this sheriff's wife car and ran, then when he got out on bond, guess where he went back to work? It ain't hard to figure out. Right for Suzanne Wesley and Suzanne Wesley Family Learning Center in Lester Gillespie. But my dad couldn't go to this program. I told him just like Martin Luther King told Yogi. I said, a person got a expose or a protection order against me granted on October the 14th, 2015 by a judge who shouldn't have never heard it. Shouldn't have never heard it. He knew he shouldn't have heard it. But then when he heard it and he tried to convince me and I wouldn't accept him as hearing this case because it was biased, it's a conflict of interest. When he recused himself, nothing else should be done with that. Hand it to another judge. Let another judge consider whether it should even be granted. But he extended. handed down to a higher judge than him. That judge didn't even want to see it. He sent it to the proper place. To the Missouri Supreme Court Justice, who sent it to another jurisdiction, the 32nd jurisdiction out of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, which will be heard on December the 4th, 2015 at the Mississippi County Courthouse here in Charleston, Missouri, on Main Street. All of my people in Chicago, if you can make it down here, come down here. Just like them 30 football players had to come together just right here in Missouri. Again, not everybody, not all whites is racist in Missouri, but you got a lot of racist white people here in this town. But they came together. It took 30 of them. They didn't have to get a busload, 30 of them. They didn't want to lose. They don't care about what that man being president. They cared about that money. Come down here and help support me and my daughters. But then we had a funeral 2 weeks ago. A cousin, we couldn't go to the funeral home where the funeral was at because Lester Gillespie was there. And then he said, I'm a threat to him, his family, and the Suzanne Wesley employees. But the funeral home director, daughter works for Suzanne Wesley, so I can't go there. Now I had to change. If me and my daddy or my daughters and them die, I have to go to another funeral home now because I can't be within 500 feet around them. It's no loss to me. You see what I'm saying? It's just money that another funeral home would be getting. But I'm going to tell you something. All these people is connected together. Lester Gillespie, Sergeant Percy Owens from the Charleston, Missouri Police Department, both of them was married to the same sisters. Sergeant Percy, now he chased after white women so much, he cheated so much, now he divorced and married to a white woman. He don't even live here. He live in Bertrand. The other one that's connected with them from the school, the Charleston R1 school district, is Frank Ellis, the black assistant principal for the Hearns Elementary School. He's married to one of the sisters too. All of them connected. He threatened my daughter, 5-year-old daughter, with the police officer, Brenda Becker. You see, all of them connected. They got the school board, all them 5 churches. They people work in the police department, the school, city hall. They got people, they got a black on the city council, but I bet you ain't talking up for nothing that's happening in these black neighborhoods. They try to get these football games and basketball games going, trying to get them recorded so they can make like they doing something in this town. They ain't doing nothing in this town but just racking up money. They ain't none of them concerned at 702 Vine Street, this unoccupied police substation where all the shooting and killing is at. But let me not forget Irvin Johnson, the director of the Charleston R1 School District Transportation, who lied to federal authorities about what this bus driver did to my child. His family work in the police department and in the detention center. All them connected trying to go up against me. I ain't scared of them. I believe on August the 29th, 2015, a little after midnight, when my house got shot in 5 times, I believe everybody I just named, the police department, City Hall, the Mississippi County Courthouse here in Charleston, Missouri, the Charleston R1 School District, all 5 of them churches that's involved in this so-called a unified coalition against violence in Charleston, Missouri, NAACP members and all, I feel all of them conspired. They was attempting to try to assassinate me because the 5 shots coincidentally was in the same little room that I was in that night. Police ain't found damn bullet. Me and my daughters found it. My daughter found one the same day. I found one the next day. Then I found one a few days later when we was getting ready to go out of town. And his bullet still in my side of my house that they ain't took out. That's evidence. They ain't took out. And I looked at them bullets. One of them is 380s. And the other one is some type of 22, but coming out of high-power rifle. You would want to try to get the angles and everything. But all them shells just about, they was found right by the projects, right across from the police substation. What that tell you? The chief of police that same night, sitting in his vehicle, didn't even get out. But on September the 12th, 2015, when they had shooting on the other side, right on the other side of this police substation, one of his sergeant, the black sergeant, out of all the people out there looking, I'm on the other side of the shooting. He pull out his automatic